Greetings everyone and welcome back to the channel. I just want to say my condolences to the family of Dr. D.K. Duncan, a former cabinet minister in the People's National Party. He served as member of parliament for East Central St. Andrew in the 70s leading up to 1980, and he also served as member of parliament for Eastern Hanover. I think it was 2007 to 2011, I believe. Right, he died this morning about 20 minutes past 11. So my condolences goes out to his family. Alright, so for today's video now, we are going to discuss what is wrong with the PNP. Many of you might have seen the PNP self-destructing in the media. Every day it's a new story, right? And you might be wondering why them can't get it together, why them can't work it out. So alright, I'm going to discuss what is wrong with the PNP, why is the PNP self-destructing, why them just can't get it together, them just can't seem to move on. Alright? So first of all, as you know, right, I always have my notes right now because when I come here so without my facts and solid ground to stand on. So every time you see me look down, I'm looking down at my notes. See, I'm try and see if I can catch it up. So I look around instead of down. Right? So what is wrong with the PNP? The PNP has not advanced since the 90s. Zin? Since 1990, the PNP has not advanced. The PNP has single-handedly depended on Michael Manley. Every time, even in 2020, the PNP is still pushing Michael Manley, because they know that they have some grassroots supporters that love Michael Manley in the 70s and probably 89 into 1990 before it was turned over to PJ Patterson. Right? So people know that people love Michael Manley. Even the other day when the Prime Minister said something not so nice about Michael Manley, right, he had to retract because people come down upon him really hard because people love Manley. But the People's National Party has not advanced since the 1990s. Think about it. What new ideas have the People's National Party come forward with? Right? It's all about Michael Manley and little bit of Porsche, and they are still depending on the notion that Jamaica is PNP country, right? So a lot of the PNP member of parliament members believe that they don't have to put forward fresh ideas or do a lot of work in their constituency because them say, oh, people are traditional and they are going to vote PNP. Mark you, a lot of grassroots People's National Party supporters have been staying away from the polls for the past 2 to 3 elections. Persons are staying away because they are not happy with the People's National Party. Many persons or many supporters of the PNP call themselves comrades, especially the recent ones, and they don't even know why they call themselves comrades. Them just hear people saying and say, oh yeah, and then put up them fists and say, oh yeah, I am a comrade. But people don't know the fundamentals of the People's National Party, and it goes back to my point that they have not advanced since the 1990s. Right? The People's National Party need to retool itself, rebrand and sell themselves, especially to young people, right? The People's National Party have this full notion from way back when that my time now. People always say my time now. It was Michael Manley's time. When it was PJ's time, it was a black man time. When it was Portia's time, it was a woman time, right? Peter Phillips, though he was not the best person for the party after Portia resigned or retired, whichever way you want to put it, it was his time because he challenged her twice, even though the polls were saying that Dr. Peter Phillips is not a likable person, right? Though he was a brilliant minister of finance, right, and he is bright and he is on top of the issues, but he is not likable. As far back as I can remember, elections are won based on the type of leader that is put forward, because many voters don't vote for their MP even though the vote is directly for the MP, but they vote based on who they want to become Prime Minister. So like last election where we see a lot of persons didn't want Dr. Peter Phillips to be the Prime Minister, Most persons wanted Honorable Andrew Holness to be the Prime Minister. So whether their MP, their JLP candidate worked or not, or they believed in them or not, they voted JLP because they know that a win in the constituency will give Andrew Holness a greater chance of becoming Prime Minister. And that is exactly what happened. So the PNP need to retool and rebrand. What new alternative has the PNP presented? I'm still waiting. I'm still awaiting for the new alternative that the PNP has presented. Don't tell me about the full manifesto about the light and the water. Mark you, it was good in theory, but it was not properly thought out because Damian Crawford kept on changing and changing and changing. It was a good idea, but it needed to be thought out properly, and then they put in how they're going to finance it, because I think that the PNP just came with a goodie bag and just started throwing out things. Mark you, they spoke about the rent to own, right? I love that idea. If you can rent somewhere after a period of time, you can get it to buy. That's a good idea, right? The light bill thing, I think they should have said persons who were on path or persons who were below the poverty line or low income earners, something like that. So you have a cap to it or a cutoff part, or there's a marker. But they said everybody, and persons were saying this couldn't work. What about people who are rich? Them are gonna get the benefit too, and that don't make no sense because they don't need it. So you see, in theory it was not a bad idea, but it was not thought out. The one person said 50 billion I gotta do it, one person said 70 billion I gotta do it. So it kept on changing, and we see how disastrous it was in the debate for what was his name again, Mark Golding. That was indefendable, inner and whichever prefix, it just could not be defended because it was not thought out properly, and a lot of the voters saw the PNP as a laughing stock. Them take them for one big set of idiot. You understand what I say? It was just not thought out properly, right? Each time the PNP has been out of power, they have regained power because the JLP made several blunders, not because the PNP presented fresh new ideas or they were a better alternative. If you look at it, when the PNP lost in 2007, in 2011 the PNP won handsomely or by a landslide because of the Manat Phelps and Phillips scandal. That's the main reason why the PNP lost that election, and some of the JLP members were becoming very arrogant, right? So there was voter apathy. Persons just turned away from the JLP. You get to me and say, but PNP never really present nothing new and different. Look, when the PNP won in 2011, right? In 2016, the JLP came with their 1.5 plan, what the PNP said couldn't work. That was something new and different, and the JLP was pushing forward young people, youth of excellence. I say, Kamina Johnson-Smith, young and bright and vibrant. Floyd Green, young and bright and vibrant. Matthew Samuda, young and bright and vibrant. You get what I'm saying? And Terry Long, young and bright and vibrant. And those persons, they got certain positions in the Jamaica Labour Party. The PNP has this history of putting a lot of dinosaurs at the forefront. Look here, persons, voters are tired of persons that were from the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. People tired of them, and the PNP keeps recycling them and putting them forward to the voters. And no matter how the voter reject them, the PNP is still trying to brush them off, dust them off, and put them again. Case in point, there's one particular person in the PNP where that has been scandal riddled and battle weary by scandal. Matthews, he was never found guilty of anything, but his character is tainted, right? Once you call theme name, I just scandal after scandal, scandal after scandal. Yet he was high level in the PNP. Look in their campaign, he was high level, and I'm saying it doesn't matter if this person is your friend, right? Persons in the PNP must learn to put party over self. People are put self. The PNP is like what, a big circle of friends, and if you're not in a circle here, you can't rise to prominence. It is like the PNP try to silence the young people. It's like the young bright people. It's like they can't propel to the forefront and be anything great. Look at Damian Crawford, and I know whether PNP or JLP, a lot of us, we had high hopes for Damian Crawford because this man was bright and he was different and he came with a different aura around him, and then look what he is becoming. Practically a laughing stock right now. Get what me I say? The People's National Party has persons young and bright like Lisa Anna. I mean, she's at the forefront. Raymond Price, Crystal Tomlinson. Look at the full letter that she affixed her signature to and saying that it is a draft. How can you write to the leader of the opposition when you were working with him? Basically, you work with him, it means you gave him your support as leader. When the world and the baby were just born 1 month now, know that the PNP couldn't win under the leadership of Dr. Peter Phillips. Everybody, and I mean, I don't know what is wrong with these unwritten rules in the PNP, because there's an unwritten rule that the leader must not be challenged, even though the Constitution say challenge. When Bunting challenged Dr. Phillips, person say, "Oh, dare you, Bunting?" But them say, "Oh, we operate by the Constitution and we live by the Constitution, and the Constitution say that the leader can be challenged." What? And see, then now Dr. Phillips became the only leader who did not become Prime Minister because he says that he is leaving. Get what I say? And has never been Prime Minister. People who don't need faith, the PNP needs to listen to what the voters are saying. The voters sent a very, very strong message to the People's National Party on September 3rd. And I don't think they are listening. I don't believe that they are listening. Now, let's go on to Dr. Peter Phillips. I believe that Dr. Peter Phillips simply brought down the entire PNP with him. That's just my feeling. Right? He brought down every single poll except the one that the PNP did, which me not have faith in. But every single poll said that Dr. Phillips was going to lose by a landslide. And I mean, you have the executive persons in the PNP and the delegates who believed in him nonetheless. And I think that he put self over party, selfish ambitions. I mean, you have been an excellent minister. Yes, but sometimes we are good supervisors but not good managers. And there is a difference. Sometimes people believe because them supervise a particular area good, them believe that they can manage the entire company. But sometimes it doesn't work, so it doesn't matter how brilliant you are. You have to have charisma. You have to have that. Every single leader has to have some form of charisma. And persons just don't like him. He's just not a likable person. Maybe it has something to do with his personality, and also I believe it has a lot to do with the 2 times that he challenged Portia Simpson Miller. Persons love Portia, and I don't think grassroots comrades have forgiven Dr. Phillips for the 2 times that he challenged Mrs. Simpson Miller. I don't think people forgive him for that yet, and he's gonna always have that blot against his name every single time. People not forgive him for that, right? Me Dave not gonna touch the full manifesto again because me done. Me do that in and out, upside down, turn it everywhere. Full manifesto. No, People's National Party. Some persons are saying that the infighting is not good, but I think that the infighting is good now. The election is fresh. No election, local government. The PNP is going to lose that handsomely again. So it doesn't matter them patch up things and act like things are gonna work out when it's not going to. They are going to lose because the JLP with Andrew Holness is very popular, and they are not losing their popularity anytime soon, so they are going to lose. And I think that the fighting is necessary. Better them cuss and war now and get everything off of them chest, so when a new leader has emerged, right, them can begin the healing process and everybody can be on one accord, right? Mark Golding's letter. Let's look. I'm touch on Crystal Tomlinson letter rude and out of order. Shouldn't send. The man don't say him a gonna leave within 30 days or be a transitional leader. But you gonna say, and you gonna put in yourself as senator. You just kill the chances of all 7 persons, including yourself, where you put on your list that a full letter, full thinking, and this is coming from somebody who is young and bright. But sometimes I wonder about some young people, you know. I wonder, right? Constant infighting. Yeah, fight Mark Golding's letter. I totally agree with Mark Golding. Why did Dr. Peter Phillips single-handedly, this is my assumption now, chose the senators when the life of the Senate is the 5 years until the next election cycle? Why not? Since he's the interim leader or the transitional leader of the opposition, I believe that he should have consulted with all elected PNP members of parliament, right? All 14 of them should have sat and decided on the 8 opposition senators, because I believe that the leader of the opposition should come from the lower house, right? Not even I believe, but the constitution says that. But the leader of the party don't have to be in the lower house. Let me just put that out there. So the leader of the party, I should say, should come from the lower house, because you can't give people instructions and you don't have a parliamentary seat. Absolutely, that can't work, right? So the leader of the opposition will come from the 13. Can come from Dr. Phillips because he is retiring, right? And I think they should have a consensus with the senators, because one of them are going to lead with those senators. You understand what I say? All right. One good thing out of this is I applaud Gabriel's appointment in the Senate. I applaud Gabriel's appointment in the Senate. But I'm saying some of those persons, why them in the Senate? Why Dr. Phillips? What am I do with Lambert Brown in the Senate? What am I do with Damian Crawford in the Senate? No, man. Absolutely not. I don't believe in it. I don't believe in this, but I applaud him for Gabriel. That was a good move. Young persons are opposed to her because they are saying that she's still in university studying and maybe she's too young. I want to say a young people time, so the man going to a young person, assist the young lady to do proper research so she can make a difference and she can make her mark in the parliament. What's wrong with that? Easy on herself, right? The PNP has moved from a big tent and now they have become a beach umbrella. So one time there was a big tent and people say, oh, a PNP country and 4 terms them win straight. But now the JLP has reduced the PNP to a little beach umbrella. Not even JLP, but the PNP has reduced itself to a little beach umbrella. This is what Clyde Williams said on Twitter, and I tend to agree with him. Right? The old heads have no regard for the party. They don't have no regard on how the party should operate. It's like persons don't care, like them say, like this is destruction, this is endgame. Like Avengers Endgame or Infinity War, so the war continues. Look here, PNP, look in yourselves. Listen to the voice of the voters that rejected you on September 3rd, because that rejection is saying something to you, because a lot of the comrades stayed home. Most, if not all of the persons, all of the PNP candidates had a reduced number of votes. So it means that a lot of the comrades stayed home. Persons are saying that a lot of persons switch and vote JLP. But if you compare these results to 2016, you will see that the JLP didn't get an increased number of votes. They didn't. So it doesn't mean that the amount that the PNP lost automatically went over to the JLP. No, person stayed away from the polls, but more PNP supporters stayed away from JLP. People's National Party that is sending a message to you guys. And for my pick for leader of the opposition, because we need a strong opposition in parliament. I hear people saying, oh, time to get rid of the PNP now. Country no run so, democracy no run so. Where there's a one-sided government, we need a strong opposition. So when the government are do foolishness or making unconstitutional moves, there's somebody to say, no, Mr. Government. People don't understand government, how government working, and that's why I hate speaking to tribalists, because them just think one way and they don't understand how governments work. We don't have to understand how government work. We need a strong opposition. For leader of the opposition, can be Julian, as 3 names: Julian Robinson, Lisa Anna, Mark Golding, right? I think I discussed this in one of my previous videos, right? About the election results. Good. Julian Robinson, yes, he's young and bright, too soft for the political ins and out, right? And he has been not a good general secretary, because the general secretary should be at the forefront of the election campaign and know what the weaknesses are and work on them. That wasn't done, because first of all, Dr. Peter Phillips wasn't marketed properly, and near to the election, we kind of see a little piece of Dr. Peter Phillips and say, hey, it's not as bad as what we did thought or what persons make him out to be. Gensec, Lisa Anna, former Labourite, barely hold on to her seat, and I'm hearing that things not so right down a Southeast St. Anne. I don't want to say certain things and get myself in a trouble, but things not right, and sorry, she have to go down there and go work out that down a Southeast St. Anne, right? Mark Golding now. Mark Golding kinda not so strong for the political bantering ins and out, even though he's good in parliament, but he can be groomed, right? And he have one of the safest PNP seat next to probably Dr. Angela Brownberg. So I'd say elect Mark Golding. I make Mark, if I even interim for go and run it fresh. You see me? I make the other people them work on themselves, but I hear a few persons saying Lowton Cousins down in Clarendon. I hear his name being bandied about, but I don't know much about him. But look here, PNP wanna come, send on Dr. Phillips seminar, please and thanks, and elect Mark Golding and make him go and run off the thing. You see me? I hear a little talking saying that Damian Crawford is trying to get Dr. Peter Phillips in East Central St. and he's trying to get his seat. But if Damian Crawford gets that seat and a by-election is called and he's win, I foresee more problems for the PNP. You know what? I'm shut up my mouth. Remember to like, share, comment and subscribe. Thanks for watching. Bye.